Guys, we're live. We're live, guys. We're going on YouTube.
All right, new lesson.
We're going famous.
Please turn off the video.
Yeah. Wait, we got a cameo and like started. Hey, be quiet, be quiet, everybody.
All right, you guys need to get quiet so we can take notes. Today we are going to go over, and yes, this is the actual title, more two-step equations. So our essential question, why do we need a second set of two-step equations? How are these different? We've already done two-step equations, guys. Why would we need a second set? There is a reason, and you will figure that out when we go. Not just practice, but these will look different.
Will that be more complex? Yeah.
Yes and no. Depends on how you look at them and how you decide to take them. Okay, so remember, guys, remember how I showed you that with the variable you use PEMDAS?
Yeah. And then we use that without it's
Oh, sorry, without a variable you use PEMDAS. With a variable you use SADMAP.
SADMAP.
What is very important for this lesson? What does P stand for?
Parentheses.
So are we going to use parentheses? Sorry, yes. Are we going to use parentheses at the beginning or at the end? At the end. Okay? That is actually very important. I'm going to show you two ways to solve it. And actually, the first way I'm going to show you is not two steps. It's going to take 3 steps. Yeah, the first way. But then I'm going to shorten it and show you a second way to solve it that will knock it down to only 2 steps. And as long as you guys understand that, I bet you want the second method. So, to do this, again, I'm just going to start in some problems. Let's solve.
Omen, do you need a pencil? Are you done?
Hey, Omen, the black one works better, and so does the pink and pink one.
Wait, aren't you recording?
Yes, I am. We're going to solve this problem.
You need to borrow a pencil? Because I got one. No.
Let's go.
Why?
Because remember, if I'm videoing it and it's going on YouTube, that means everyone in your family that still has a hole in it can still see it. Just make sure you don't squeeze it out. Just expose them. All right. So, 3, 2, 1. When we solve this, if I just gave you this part of the problem, what would you do?
Make that thing. Array.
Your array to do what kind of property?
Division.
Not division, but it does start with a D.
Distributed.
Distributed. It's the distributed property. So you could do that. We could use the distributed property. So it's that out of 4. What's 4 times x?
4.
Plus, what's 4 times 3?
12.
So we just made this 4x plus 12 equals 28. That's one step, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Doing the distributive property.
Oh, do we need to do the wall now?
Well, now it's a 2-step equation. We just did this 2 days ago. There's a lot of 2's going on today. Where's your variable?
On the left side.
So let's look on the left. What operations do you see? Addition and
Multiplication.
multiplication. Are we using PIMDAS or SADMET?
SADMET.
Why SADMET?
Variable.
Because it has a variable. So should we look at the multiplication first or the addition first?
Addition.
What's the inverse of addition?
Subtraction.
What are we going to subtract?
Minus 12.
What you do to the left?
Let's go to the right.
What was the whole point of subtracting that 12?
Get rid of
To get rid of it. So now we have 4x equals, what is 28 minus 12?
16.
And the answer is
Is your variable isolated? Is it by itself?
No.
No. What operation do you see?
Multiplication.
What's the inverse?
Division.
What do we divide by?
By 4.
Why by 4?
Because you gotta get rid of the number.
What's 4 divided by 4?
1.
So you're left with 1x. On the right hand side, what's 16 divided by 4?
4. Now time to check.
Now it's time to check, but before we check, I want to show you the second method. Okay? Here's the second method. So you guys are now just going to sit and watch. Well, okay, you're going to have to copy down the notes as well.
Yeah.
So I'll try to do it as slowly as possible so you can copy it, but quick enough that you guys can, stay interested. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to draw my river or my wall or whatever you want to call it. And now I'm going to use SADMET. I won't even distribute. Because at SADMET, the P comes at the end. The parentheses, I'm going to leave until the end. So that's 4 times a sum. The inverse of multiplication, I'm going to divide by 4 on both sides. Because that is saying I have 4 groups of x plus 3. If I take those 4 groups and I divide it by 4, I have 1 group of x plus 3. There's 1 step. All I did was just divide by 4. It was 1 step. Now I have x plus 3 equals 7.
Then you're gonna
Where's the variable?
on the
On the left side. What is the operation?
Addition.
What's the inverse?
Subtraction.
What number are we subtracting?
3.
Cancels out. X equals what's 7 minus 3?
4.
So the first one was 3 steps. You distribute, you subtract, you divide. There's 3 steps. The second method, you divide, you subtract. There's 2 steps. Doesn't matter which way you choose. Am I going to be upset with either way you choose?
No.
No. At this point, we can do our check. It doesn't matter because they both have the same answer, so let's check. 4 parentheses x plus 3 equals 28. What has to change?
X.
What does x change to?
4.
So we have 4 times the quantity of 4 plus 3 equals 28. Well, now what? What would it multiply?
4 times 4.
Is that it?
And
I mean, you could distribute, or we could also, what's 4 plus 3? What's 4 times 7? Does 28 equal 28?
Yeah.
Does it work?
Yeah.
Does it matter which method we chose?
No.
Yep. If the instructions say check your work, then check your work. Okay? So, you ready for some practice?
Yeah.
Go to your student page. Alright, you have two problems. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do the two problems and the checks. Camera's going.
I am so smart.
Are you? I believe it.
Got it.
Yep, you have to do the checks. I have an issue with you right now.
Calculator saver. Already?
If you go to use half your time, you should be halfway there, which means one's already done. Okay. Which variable? Is that what you want? No, go to the page. Go to the next line and flip it. And because everyone wants to, well, not everyone, but some of you are sitting back there just wanting to goof off the entire time. I'm kind of done.
What? How?
There's still another minute left. You know what? At least he's getting his stuff done.
So we can have? You're not a hat? I got it. I got my answer. This way. You can start hacking. No one can wrap me on the Bears game. Miss, I got it. Miss, I got it. You know what? Bradley finished it. I'm quite hard. How'd you not get 3 points?
got nothing done. There's no need to be laughing and
I
giggling.
subtracted them.
You need to work.
I don't know what to do, miss.
I got it, miss. I finished. I'm so smart. Not really. I got it.
Where's your variable?
Oh, I got it.
It's right here.
What operations do you see?
Multiplying and subtracting. Multiplying and subtracting.
Okay, so which one are you gonna undo first? The multiplication or the subtraction? I will send this directly to your mom.
No.
Bradley said that I got it right.
Do I do division first? You want me to do division first?
Yes.
Bradley said I got it right.
I suggest you stop and pay attention. Boys in the back, please stop. Okay, so there are several of you confused. Let's work through this one together. What's the first thing I want to see you guys do?
The river.
The river. Okay? We draw the river. What's the first question I ask you?
Did you like it? Side.
Where is your variable?
The right
On
side.
the right.
Is that where you want it?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Okay? You can solve with it on the right side, but next week you'll be working with inequalities. I will help you if it's on the left. So we just flip it over. -2 times y minus 3 equals 22. How what?
How would it cross the river?
We just flip them. The equal sign's the bridge, but we have to make it equal.
I need help.
Okay? We'll go.
Oh, smart.
What operations do you see?
I never thought of
Subtraction and multiplication.
We have subtraction, we have multiplication. Do I need to move somebody else? Okay, which one should we undo first, the subtraction or the multiplication?
Multiplication.
The multiplication. The sub- You're about ready to get kicked out.
Miss.
If you want me to believe that you're sorry, then you better change some attitude.
Sorry.
Why should we mess with these? Why are we undoing the multiplication and not the subtraction?
Because it's different.
Subtraction is in parentheses, so you have to say that for last. What's the inverse of multiplication?
Division.
What are we dividing by? Just a 2? Why -2?
Because then you're gonna get an answer of negative.
Well, so they can cancel out. What you do to the left?
You must do to the right because they're irrelevant.
So now you have y minus 3 equals, what's 22 divided by -2? -11. Is your variable isolated? Is it by itself yet?
No.
No. So what operation do you see?
Subtraction.
What's the inverse?
Addition.
What do we add?
3.
What you do to the left?
Right.
So those 3's cancel out. Y equals what?
Negative
Negative 8. What do you need to do at this point?
Check.
The biggest problems I saw are people are forgetting this negative right here, and you're not doing your checks. Remember, your check can guarantee if you are correct or not before you ever hand this in. Some of you guys would have missed points, not necessarily because you didn't do the check, but because the answer was wrong, and your check could have proved that. How do we do the check?
You rewrite the same problem. You rewrite.
You have a question?
I did it another way.
Huh?
I did it another way.
What did you do?
Well, I got 1 and 3 equals 11, and then I did the opposite of subtraction. 12 plus 3 equals 14.
But that that 11 is negative.
You probably just took them all like two.
Okay, so did you divide by a negative 2 right here? Did you divide by a negative 2?
Yeah.
What's a positive divided by a negative? A negative. Now, are these the same or different signs? So you subtract. Okay? You're not the only one who did that. We can't forget our negatives. We can't forget our integer rules. I told you from day one that those were the most important because we will never leave them behind. You are stuck with those integer rules from now until forever. Okay? Do you have the same answer as us now?
I still got 22.
I have to come check because that means something else went on. Okay, what does y change to? Negative 8. Keep everything else. Which ones do we solve first?
No.
Parentheses. What is negative 8? Minus 3.
Parentheses.
Negative 11. What is negative 11 times negative 2?
22.
Negative or positive?
Positive.
Why?
Negative times a negative equals a positive.
That guarantees that this y is negative 8 is correct. What was so different about number 2? Had decimals. Does that change how we solve it?
No.
No. What's the first thing you do?
Bridge.
No, it's a river. It's a river.
It's the river. The equal sign is the bridge that can cross them over.
Yeah, exactly. It's a river.
Okay? What operations do you see?
Of addition, multiplication.
Addition and multiplication. Which one should we undo first? Multiplication. How do you, what's the inverse of multiplication? Division. What do we divide by?
3.2.
If you don't have this down, you should be writing. Also, this can cancel out, and we have x plus 3 7/10 equals, what is 4 8/10 divided by 3 2/10?
Calculator. It's 1.5.
Yeah.
Is the variable isolated?
No.
What operation do you see?
Addition.
What's the inverse?
Subtraction.
What do we subtract? What you do to the left? Cancel out. X equals, are those the same or different signs? So do we auto subtract? So we have negative 3.7 and a 1.5. Subtract those two. Is it positive or negative? Why negative?
I think I got that one
What's
wrong.
up, man?
Do you check? Hey, you're on video too.
That's alright. I just called the kids names.
Just tell them to subscribe.
You have any AAA names?
Yes, I do.
Just tell them to subscribe.
What are we exactly doing? Mr. Beeson.
She's gonna see that, that's funny.
Oh, you want to subscribe and the like button
We were in the running.
and turn notifications
Yeah,
on.
I thought that I
So
saw
to
that.
be notified once a new video comes out.
Anyway,
We'll get back to the video.
Mr. Beeson.
let me see.
What is that? The
I'm
maps
ready
aren't
to
ready.
check.
The maps aren't ready yet. What are we doing?
That's a number of what?
The maps aren't out.
Oh, we can roll them back up.
Really famous, okay?
I can't do
I
that.
have a mustache. How does that work? Are you
Yeah, that would have been like an atomic bomb.
are you mixed Italian? Hey, wait. Does that Max? Does that make him mixed Italian?
No, for Christmas we so desperate. Celebrate national.
Hey! Almond, why don't you have any of this down? Like, none of it.
Sorry.
So, Omen, look at me. The notes are no longer for you. The notes are so you can take them home and you can show mom, dad, sister, whoever needs them. So if they're asking, what are you doing? You can just show them your notes. But if your notes are blank, then they don't know what you're doing. Right, go back to the teacher page. Yeah, well, at least one more thing to show you. This is the one that you guys all hate, but it's really not that hard.
The chapter
Fraction.
Oh no, please don't.
I gave it already. Are they fractions?
No!
Oh my God. Mr. Krabs.
Oh, I hate.
How can I?
That's the thing. I don't see the ball.
Yeah, I don't really see. I thought it'd be a word problem.
They're like,
Now, is this really so difficult?
Yes.
Why? Be serious now. Is this going to be difficult?
Yeah.
Why?
A fraction?
Because it's a fraction, but a fraction is just a division problem. Which means, if we draw a river, what two operations do you see?
PEMDAS
I see subtraction.
and division.
No, I see division.
Oh yeah.
3,
can't you do the distribution?
2, 1. Yes, you could, but that means that you have to have a fraction and multiply a fraction times a whole number. And then you're going to get another fraction that you have to subtract to the other side, which means you have to make this one into a fraction and find common denominators, and it's going to be a whole lot more work. 3. So if this is subtraction and division, what's the inverse of division? So we're going to multiply
By its in reciprocal.
by the reciprocal. So we just write it upside down, 5 over 3. Because what is 5 times 3? Guys, quit making me talk over you. Or I will go silent, and I'll turn off the video, and you guys can just guess the rest of it. Is that what you want?
No.
What is 5 times 3? 3 times 5.
15.
What is 15 over 15? So
Whoa.
do we even need this?
No.
Multiply by the reciprocal, you just got rid of the fraction.
But then you get to the other side.
Yes, you have to do it to the other side. 5 over 3. But this one's nice and easy. Do you see anything that can simplify? I see right here.
Then I
A 3 can go into a 3. A 3 can also go into 9.
Yeah.
So that is now negative. What's 9 divided by 3?
3.
Times a 5, because what's 3 divided by 3? Do you even need that then?
Nope.
So we now have m minus 6 equals, what's negative 3 times 5?
15. Negative.
Why negative 15?
Because negative 1 was negative.
Do you,
Oh, the 9 was negative.
do you have any more fractions?
No.
So after one step, you can be completely, there's a chance you can be completely rid of fractions.
That's pretty good.
Is a variable isolated?
No.
No. What operation do you see?
Subtraction.
What operation do you see right now?
Subtraction.
Subtraction. What's the inverse?
Addition.
What are we going to add?
Addition.
What you do to the left?
To the right.
M equals, what is negative 15 plus 6?
Negative.
Negative 11.
Why is it negative 9?
Because 15 minus
They're opposites.
15 is, it's a different, they're different.
It's different signs, means we subtract, and you take the sign from the larger absolute value. What do you have to do now?
You have to yeah.
What changes?
Your variable.
To what?
Negative 9.
Sorry, I wrote my fraction on.
You got 5 or 3.
3 over 5 still.
Oh, yes.
What part do we solve first? Parentheses, negative 9 minus 6.
Negative 15.
Why negative 15?
Because they have the same sign together.
There's the same sign, so you just go ahead and add. You have negative 15. Keep the parentheses. Why do we keep the parentheses?
Because
They tell us to multiply. Can anything simplify right here? What? What can divide both 5 and 15? 5. So this denominator gets canceled out. You now have 3 times a negative 5. Or sorry, 3. I keep making my own mistakes now. Does negative 9 equal negative 9?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So when you have a fraction out being factored in outside of the parentheses,
And champagne.
as long as it's a nice problem, you get rid of the fraction from the beginning, and then when you check, you only worry about it at the end. Okay? Any questions?
No.
All right? There is one more problem we do need to do. That one. I don't want to hear any more yelling, screaming. Why do we need to do this problem?
Because it has a word problem.
Because it's a word problem.
Oh,
What is important to know from this word problem?
Letters.
Well, actually, let's back it up again.
Okay.
What is the first thing you need to know for solving word problems? The first thing you need to do to solve a word problem?
You know the numbers.
First, you need to read it.
Natasha.
To yourself. Read it. Playing with calculator, you're not reading it.
How many
To
was
yourself.
this? How many coupons is there?
I don't know.
Then how do we know the price?
What's important to know?
5.
5
5 what?
orange juice.
You do need to know 5 bottles of orange juice. What else?
Coupon. 65 cents.
Off the regular price of each coupon. After using the coupons, the total cost of orange juice is?
$6.
What is the regular price of the orange juice? Hey guys, you've now just knocked this down to what we did yesterday. What did we do yesterday?
Oh, you are keyword writing equation.
We were writing equations, so you look for
That was
keywords.
hard for me.
Only look for what was in there. So what do we start with?
5 bottles of OJ.
5 bottles of orange juice.
Coupons.
So
65 cents off.
65%.
Please subtract 65 cents. 65
I got a question.
Whatever you do.
Why wouldn't the price of each
And then
bottle of the
put,
juice
and
be
then put
important?
secret coupons.
Why wouldn't the price of
No,
each bottle of
Oh, no. Max has a really good question, guys.
Keep going.
Ask it for the class.
why wouldn't the price of each bottle of the juice be important?
Is that important?
Yeah. What is it? I don't know.
That's going to change what's happening down here.
Uh-oh.
Do we know the price of each bottle?
No.
So what do we put?
Variable. 5.
There's your variable.
Oh no.
The coupons are 65 cents off the regular price, not the bottle, but the price.
65p.
No, because you need to know the price to subtract 65 cents.
So you don't put the 5.
The 5's coming out here because you're getting
I have
5
a number
bottles.
of students standing outside in the hallway, the 8th grade hallway, that need to get back to class. About 4 or 5 students in the 8th grade hallway that need to get back to class now.
Okay, did you guys see how this comes up?
Yes.
There's 5 bottles. If she has 5 bottles, does she also have the 5 coupons?
No, yeah, some coupons, we don't know.
But she's going to have a coupon for each one.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't tell you that, and I agree with you guys, that's bad, but after using the coupons, she has coupons for, oh, wait, yeah, it says she has coupons for 65 cents off the regular price of each bottle, so she does have enough.
No wonder the question.
Sorry. All right, and what is the final price going to equal?
$6.26.
Solved. Student page, solved. Student.
So the price minus the price is the price.
The backyard again? Wait, you don't do the determinate property, right? Wait, what? Wait, you don't do this determinate property?
Well, you can, but that's adding a step to your work. Why don't you just divide both sides by 5? Then I distribute the property. Oh, this calculator all over up there. There's literally 2 other calculators besides where you're sitting.
Oh, no, never mind, that's fine.
I'm gonna leave the calculator.
No, yeah, I don't need the calculator.
Hold on. How many is 6 plus 2 equals not what? Alright, now time to shit.
I definitely gonna get one.
Didn't you get one?
No.
Alright.
Huh?
1.2, 1.3.
Yes.
Hippity hoppity. Do
I don't know.
Ooh, that's a weird number, eh? Hippity hoppity.
Please remember, this is a word problem. You do need to label it. If you want to know what the label is, read the question.
Yeah, I did. There was this one assignment that I got like a 90 something on because I got fake too.
Yep.
Yeah, I got a 98.
And I was, I did so bad.
Told you guys, you don't.
Label it.
Last time I couldn't assign me what I got, I couldn't
Oh,
give me a
just
sticker.
so. Do I need to give you more stickers for 100?
Yes.
Okay.
But that's
I
never
want
happened
candy.
again.
Get 100%, you get a sticker.
Really?
Hard.
A smelly one? I'll be like,
If you can get 5 assignments in a row with 100%, you get candy.
That's impossible.
that's high.
That's a,
What?
how big is the candy gonna be?
But you
Because
think
it's a little
it's
piece
not
of
a
like,
building.
Okay, how about this? You get 3 in a row, you get to pick out of that bag, which is just like the fun size, the smaller ones.
Right?
5 in a row.
I want no fun time.
You get 5 in a row, then I open up my closet and you pick from what's in the closet.
What's in the closet?
You're gonna
Steal
steal
your
your
stage.
That's it. We want to see.
Open the closet.
Whoa! Default dance. Oh yeah.
Whoa.
But you have to get 5 in a row.
Let me see, let me see.
Let me see. Let me see.
She's got it.
You ready for the zombie apocalypse? I didn't hear you guys.
And the way you're acting now, some of you aren't going to fully understand, so you can't get 100% on it. And big importance, remember to label when you have word problems.
Give us 5 homework assignments today.
Old man, you're gonna be missing assignments.
Omen, you're already missing 7 of them.
Wait, 7?
I'm missing 2.
You mean?
That's a vote.
Now a sticker.
Why are you
Alright,
scared?
how do we get rid of the subtraction? I add 6.65.
Can I like steal your stitch after?
No, that's mine.
Oh, yeah, this is.
Is this correct?
If you want, if you get 5 homework assignments 100% in a row, you can have 6 for the day.
Oh, yeah.
Half point.
Oh.
I forgot to check.
No, you've got the label. Half point.
Oh my god.
I forgot to check.
I forgot the label.
Hold up.
Oh, we don't have to check. I got the
You still don't have the label.
Do we have to check?
Hey, what's your first oranges?
I don't think
Factors in there.
When we talk about price, we're talking about
Oh. Dollars?
I just don't want to accept that, but the
Dollar bill,
accepting just for dollar sign but
Oh, he's interest away.
Good.
Let's go. Let's go.
Oh,
Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, 65. Oh,
Yeah.
no, he missed it. He missed it.
Probably because she's been chewing the tape for a while.
Yeah.
She's been chewing the tape. That was my Rolex.
Is it 1? Is P equal $1.89?
The tape was my Rolex.
Is it equal $1.89?
no, it's not $1.89.
This is not $8.96.
That's what I mean. You know what I mean? So I'm right.
What is going on?